Here is a horror story that happened to me and my best friend. If you don't believe in paranormal activity, just scroll because I'm not going to argue with you guys in the comments. So basically, for a little bit of background information, every single time my best friend comes over, no matter the weather or anything, we usually watch a scary movie and then go for a walk. Don't ask why, that's just what we like to do, and usually there's like Taco Bell or some food in there too, but that's just what we do. We were like, let's go for a walk. Now, where we chose to go for a walk might have been where the part where we messed up, but we always go back here. Like, I go back here with my other friends. Like, usually it's fine. I've had 1 or 2 experiences back there, but that's for another time. Basically, it's like houses lined up, and behind their house and behind their backyard is like a small pathway where you can walk. And the pathway leads to train tracks and like a park. It's not even like a park. It just has swings and this huge slide. That's it. So I think it's like dead summer, and we immediately walk outside and a huge cold breeze just smacks me in the face. And I specifically remember that because right after that, I just got this bad like tension in my body that I didn't like at all. And I kind of like brushed it off just because I wanted to go for a walk. Like, I was bored. So like I didn't say anything, but she was feeling the same exact thing. And I figured that out after this happened. So maybe we both should have just spoke up, but whatever. Since we were both feeling a little like scared and, tensed up, Aubrey started telling me a story, and I don't know what it was about. I think it was like this girl stealing someone's boyfriend. I don't know, it doesn't really matter, but the most important part is when she was telling the story, she specifically said they were saying this girl had a weird face. And I don't know if this was actually what happened, but in my head, she kept repeating it. She kept saying, this girl had a really weird face. Again, I don't know if she was actually repeating that or if that's just the thing that stuck out to me. But in my head, she said that 10 times. She was just like, she had such a weird looking face. Like, Megan, it looks so weird. It's like, I don't know. That's just like the only thing I remember her saying. And then she said something about like it looking like disformed, and I was like, all right, okay, let's stop. I was like, all right, let's stop, because I got this god awful looking scary girl in my head and I could not get it out. Specifically remember a huge ass cold breeze smacking my face again, and that's when I was like, oh my fucking god, my body like tensed up. I got like the chills, and I wanted to say, Aubrey, we need to turn back, we need to go back. Like, something in my head was saying, go back, go back, go back, go back. And we kept walking. Just because sometimes I don't know if it's just because I'm being a pussy or if it's my body actually telling me, go the fuck back. So I was like, okay, maybe you're just scared, keep walking. So we kept walking. Okay, I'm getting kind of scared because my room's in the basement and like the door's right there. It's like too quiet right now. It's okay. We're walking and we hear 2 branches crack behind us. And I'm like, I shoot my head back and I'm like, did you hear that? And she's like, yeah. I was like, it's fine, Aubrey, just keep walking. So we keep walking and we hear more movement behind us, not trees like or branches cracking, like more like just like movement, like kind of like bushes moving. And I was like, bro, do you hear that or am I tripping? And she's like, no, I hear it, Megan. So I'm like, okay, whatever, just stay calm. And then it happened the 3rd time and we bolted. Like, we didn't even see anything at this time, we just ran, right? Aubrey was a little ahead of me because the thing is like anytime anything like this happens, I like when everyone's in front of me just so I can like make sure everyone's there. And right behind Aubrey, and you guys saying this, I know you guys are not going to believe me, but you please believe me because I'm not lying. Like, genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, not lying. And I was almost throwing up and crying after this, like genuinely. So standing behind Aubrey, well, chasing Aubrey actually, is this tall black man with a long stretched out face. He didn't really have a face. He just had like a long mouth and like long eyes, kind of like that, all black body. And he was like hovering over Aubrey because it's like he was right there. He could have like got Aubrey if he wanted to, but he was just like kind of pacing. Like, this was Aubrey and this was him, and he was just like kind of pacing with her, if that makes sense. And I'm just like running, like I'm running basically next to it, and I'm just like looking up at it. Like, I didn't say anything. Like, I didn't. So we get to one of like the houses, because like I said, we're a pathway behind houses. So we come out where we can like kind of run out in one of their front yards, if that makes sense. So we get there, and I, like, put my hands on my knees like this, and I'm breathing heavy, and I'm crying, and Aubrey's like, Megan, what was that? What the fuck was that? And I'm like, I can't breathe, because I don't think she saw it. If I'm wrong, Aubrey, correct me in the comments. I don't think she saw it, but I'm out of breath, like, crying, and I'm like, Aubrey, I'm gonna throw up. I can't catch my breath. And she's, like, trying to hold me and, like, walk me down the court, because basically I live on courts, and so we were trying to get to the end to get, like, to the main thing, if that makes sense. If you guys want me to, I can, like, always pull up a map and explain it, but that's, like, I don't know. And so we're walking, and I'm not even joking. You can tell. I'm just looking back every single second. I'm like, I'm not joking. I tell Aubrey, you look forward, I'll look back, because we need to make sure, like, that wasn't someone real, even though deep down I knew it wasn't, because he was right there. He was literally right there. I just heard something on my door. No one better try to scare me right now, because I will actually fucking kill someone. I'm actually scared. And thinking back to this, oh my god, now I'm hearing shit. We got back, and I'm, like, crying, and I don't even know what we do. Oh yeah, we come in my room. We sit down, still out of breath. And then that's when we kind of, like, calm down a little, because, you know, we're in my room, we're safe. But we're still, like, looking around my room, like, we don't want to leave my room. Like, it was just so bad. I don't know, but whatever it is, we haven't gone back since. So, yeah. But thanks for watching my story time, guys. If you guys want more, comment, because I have so many more, because stuff has happened in my house, at other people's houses, around my house, and yeah, so love you guys. Bye.
When I was 17, I had to go to rehab in Mexico, where the spirit of a little girl lived. There was this one particular night where we were all falling asleep in our beds in the dormitory. Quick note, how it works there is that we all have to take care of each other. Basically, our own, like, companions, which are, you know, a bunch of underage girls, have to watch over each other. Like, we have to take turns guarding during the night to make sure that nobody tries to escape, that nobody's doing anything they're not supposed to do, etc. You get it. So the guard at the time, you know, was doing the regular job. We were all falling asleep. Everything was good. When out of nowhere, we started to hear thumping. And it wasn't a girl. It wasn't the guard. It was coming from the roof. So alarmed, some of us started to sit up in our beds. You know, what the fuck? What could it be? You know, what could it be? We all started to get a little bit freaked out because, you know, we're a bunch of teenage girls, underage girls, alone at night in the dorm, in, like, in the facility. It's not a big facility. And in this particular facility, there's 3 stories. And on the roof, there's absolutely no way for you to get out. Because it's not just, like, I suppose it was just, like, plain roofs where it's just a down drop. It's a roof with another roof on top, and then, like fence all around. You can see, like, outside, but, like, there's a fence. There's no way for you to jump out. There's no way for anybody to get in. And they had just reinforced it because a little while before that, 2 girls had escaped. Well, technically 4. We start to hear running. Get back and forth, all, like, across the entire fucking roof. Some of the girls looked, like, terrified, like, petrified. And I wasn't too freaked out because I was thinking, you know, I mean, who could be up there? I mean, it could probably just be a homeless guy, right? Little did I know, because I hadn't really gone up there, it wasn't. I would later go on to find out it was actually the little girl who was up there. And I had encountered her in different ways, well, through other girls being there. There was a point where I had to sleep downstairs. They moved me and a couple other girls to a room that was downstairs, where she particularly spent her time. One of the girls ended up seeing her at the foot of my bed. I mean, I was protected by Jesus, so I wasn't that scared. I was fucking terrified. But I knew Jesus got me, so, but still, that shit was fucking scary.
Day 9 of true, spooky, unexplainable paranormal experiences from throughout my life. This is probably the scariest, for me at least, story that I'm going to tell in this series. It shook me to my core and still shakes me to this day. It happened when I was probably like 7 or 8 years old, and I used to do this thing when my mom would take a shower at night, and while she was in the shower, I would go hide somewhere, and then when she got out of the shower, she would, like, come and find me. It was, like, a little hide-and-seek type thing. But sometimes, instead of her, like, coming to find me, I would just hide somewhere and then jump out and scare her when she came out of the shower. On this particular evening, I decided I was going to hide in the closet. So it's on the second story of my house. There's my parents' room, there's my room, there's a walk-in closet, and then there's the bathroom. And the closet is right next to the bathroom. So this walk-in closet is where we kept, like, it was just like a bunch of shelves. It wasn't very big. It was where we kept, like, blankets and pillows, and we would keep, like, just extra travel stuff in there, like suitcases and that type of thing. So I was trying to find a really good spot in there because it's quite crowded. So I'm, like, crawling around in there. In the back, like, the far end, it's just, like, a long, skinny closet. And in the back, on the floor, is where we kept our suitcases. So I decided I was going to hide behind the suitcases, and then when my mom would open the closet after the shower to put her dirty laundry, like, we kept, like, our dirty laundry baskets in there, so we would just, like, throw her whatever. So she would open the closet door after she came out of the bathroom. So I'm trying to hide behind these suitcases, and as I push on one of the suitcases to get it out of the way, and something says to me in this creepy, like, old lady / small child voice. It goes, "What's your name?" I shit you not, this fucking closet asked me what my name was. What's your name? Like, okay, sorry. I panicked so hard that I said out loud, I said, "I don't know what my name is," and I ran out of the fucking closet. There is not a single thing in that closet that should have been speaking. There's not a single thing in that closet that should have asked me what my name was. Yeah. I, like, moved the suitcase, and something asked me what my name was. Bro. But yeah, I told my mom about it afterwards, and she couldn't figure out what it was either, because she also said there's nothing in the closet that should have been speaking to you. And to this day, I don't know what that was. I was terrified of that closet for a good, like, I don't know, year after that. Like, when I would put my dirty clothes in the laundry basket, it would be like, don't look, open the door, throw, slam that shit, run away. Like, what was that, bro? What was that?
There's an old saying that says that once you have gone to bed and called it a night, that you should not leave your home after that. That if anybody were to text you and invite you out, it's essentially death inviting you out themselves. Unfortunately, Mario didn't listen. Mario's actually my friend's cousin, so this just recently happened. I also suggest that you stay till the end of the story because it has a crazy twist. So Mario was hanging out one night at home with his parents when he decided to go to bed. It was about 11 o'clock at night. He had already gone to bed when his phone goes off and it's one of his friends inviting him out. Apparently this new club had just opened in town and they all were going to meet over there. Mario decided to just get dressed and leave. He didn't even tell his parents. I don't even think his parents even realized that he had left. They had already gone to bed themselves. He goes to the club and he meets up with his friends. Once they get there, being that the club was new, there was a long line to get in. Mario and his friends are just kind of waiting in line when out of nowhere this random car drives by and just like shoots people. He does like a drive-by shooting. Mario's unfortunately one of the people that get hit. Now back at Mario's parents' house, his parents are already in bed when out of nowhere they get woken up because they hear loud banging coming from the front door. The mom very cautiously goes towards the front door. She's a little confused because she's not used to people coming at this time. Whoever's knocking sounds like they are in distress. She has this little door like right where the peephole is, so she can kind of open up and like get a good view of who it is. She opens the peephole, looks out and sees Mario standing there like frantically asking her to open the door. She says that even though it was dark out, she could tell that her son had like blood like coming from his forehead. She goes and opens the door as fast as she can. When she opens it, Mario's not there. It's complete silence. There's no one there. So what came to his mom's house was essentially his confused spirit running to the person that he feels the safest with, which is his mother. I share a lot of stories on here, but that one just really like hit me different. It's so incredibly sad. Even after we passed on, we still look for our comfort, like whoever makes us feel the safest, and that's who that was.
Tell me a ghost story that sounds completely unbelievable but is entirely true.
So when I was a kid, I lived in a haunted flat. I had lots of creepy things happen to me whilst I was living there. But I was never that scared. I was the type of kid that would like play on it. You know, like tell spooky stories, hold the lamp under my chin with like my friends in a circle. Like I almost used to like call out the creepiness. Found it like exciting, like fascinating. maybe I was just a weird kid, but like me and my friends, we loved it. But this one night changed everything. It was a normal night. Mum put me to bed, had my light on as kids do. She'd gone to bed as well. She was in the room next to me, and I was sort of perched up a little bit, just like I am now, just staring into space, thinking about God knows what, things kids think about, wide awake. My door was open. I'm going to show you the way my bed and the door was positioned, because my mum's room in this house is actually pretty much the same as what it was positioned in the flat. So I was like this in my bed, just perched up. Door was positioned like this. The hallway was behind it. Now, I'm not paying much attention to the door. I can see something at the corner of my eye. So I look and I'm like, a finger, a human finger, came from around the door and it did this. And I went, Mum? And it just kept doing this. And when I tell you, I screamed louder than I have ever screamed. My mum came running in from her room to my room. She was like, what's wrong? You're trembling, you're shaking. I was shaking like, oh my God. I was absolutely horrified. She said I screamed that loud, I probably woke up the neighbourhood. And I know it wasn't her. I mean, one, why would she terrify her own kid like that? We don't have that type of relationship. And I know it wasn't her because she had to turn on her light in her room and come running into mine, meaning she couldn't have been behind that door. She couldn't be in two places at once. I don't remember ever encouraging anything, any ghosts to come out. I never did the knock twice if you're there. That stuff stopped. And then a year or so later, we moved out. And for years, I was so paranoid in this house because I thought it would be the same here. Because really, all I ever knew at that flat was just these eerie experiences that I couldn't explain. Luckily, nothing has ever happened here. Nothing followed me. Let me see if I can show you what the finger behind the door looked like. Hang on. Oh, so creepy.
Y'all are really gonna think I'm crazy after this one, but I want to tell you guys about the time that I saw aliens in the backyard. Like, I'm so serious. I'm pretty sure the story is based in 8th grade, and I have like literally 10 other girls that can fact check this because we all saw the same thing. I think I was at this girl Kate's house for a summer like pool party because her birthday's in June like me. Basically, we're all out having this pool party, and it's like the evening, like the sun is starting to go down. We're eating outside, eating pizza with like the moms and stuff, and the moms go inside so we can all keep playing in the pool. I don't remember exactly what we were doing. Partly cloudy night, okay? Like, it is not super cloudy, but there are definitely clouds in the sky. And for some reason, we were already all looking up at the sky. Like, I think we were looking at stars or something. All of a sudden, y'all are literally gonna think I'm crazy, but I swear, like, on everything, this is what I saw, and this is what I remember. Out from the sky comes this like glowing disc, and it comes and like hovers over the pool for a second. Obviously, we start screaming and we're running around the pool. The moms come out like, we just saw aliens! We just saw aliens! Nobody believes us. And I know what I saw that night, okay? We could see it only hovering above us, but it was like glowing. It disappeared faster than anything I've ever seen anything disappear. How it disappeared was it went through a cloud, but then it never came out the other side of the cloud. Like, do you know what I mean? And I know we saw, because all of us saw the same thing. Like, we wouldn't all just start screaming if someone didn't see it. If you've ever seen anything like this, please let me know. This also sent me into like the next few years of my life, deep dives on like alien sightings. And I'm like, yes, it's true. I don't know, guys. I don't know what to believe anymore. Also, did y'all see that video like a year or two ago of like that guy that was seeing giants and then he just like disappeared because he was posting about them, and like he went up to the base, like it was like an army base, and he literally just disappeared from TikTok. Like, he stopped posting updates and stuff. There's this theory that Antarctica is like, oh my god, I have a lot of theories. I need y'all to take it one step at a time. I need to see how y'all react to this, and then I might come back with more.
So I've been waiting to share this story with you for a while, but I didn't want to share it from my primary residence where this story takes place. I figured I'd wait till I come up to the lake and tell it from here, just because we don't want to stir anything up. Okay. With that said, about 15 years ago, it's been 15, 16 years, I don't even remember, right? We bought the house, and my daughter at the time was just going to college. Back then, she smoked cigarettes. She doesn't smoke anymore. And one day, I happened to be on the side of the house cleaning up, and I noticed all these cigarette butts. And of course, I realized that she was smoking cigarettes out her bedroom window and throwing the butts on the floor. Really pissed me off. But that's a story for another day. With that said, she comes home from school, and I said to her, listen, first of all, I don't like the fact that you smoke. And number two, if you're going to smoke, just go outside. And if you're going to smoke outside, make sure you clean up after yourself, because that doesn't sit well with me. So make sure you get out there tomorrow or sometime when you have a minute and clean it all up. So fast forward, the next day I'm at the office and she calls me up. And I go, and she sounds like a little hysterical. And I go, what's the matter? She said, well, I went out to the side of the house to clean up the cigarette butts like you asked me to. And as I was leaning over, cleaning up, I heard something. It sounded like a child scream really loud in my ear, like a loud screeching yell. And it just startled me. I jumped up. I looked around. I didn't see anybody there. And the first thing she thought was it might have been my stepson who was playing a joke on her. So she walked around the house. There was no one there. And why would he be there? He didn't drive then. He was still a kid. And then I said, well, maybe it was a siren, because where we live, sometimes the fire sirens go. And she goes, Ma, it wasn't a siren. It was in my ear. Something literally screamed and jolted me, gave me a heart attack. I was like, I don't know what to tell you, babe. I don't know what that could possibly be. But never in a million years would I think it's anything ghostly or a spirit. I just thought she heard something, like a squeal of some kind. Maybe it was a squirrel that was trapped or a raccoon or something. I don't know. Anyway, fast forward 6 months later, I was home one day and I started baking. I was baking all kinds of cupcakes or whatever. And then I was mopping the floor. I was cleaning up after myself. And I happened to get on my knees and bend over to clean something up. And I heard a scream in my ear that went, ah! Like really loud. I literally jumped out of my skin, looked around. There was nobody there. It was definitely felt like a little child was in the kitchen that decided to give me a stroke. I literally had a freak. Has this ever happened to you? Do you live in a haunted house? I love to hear stories like this. I did have a friend who had some psychic abilities, and she came and she did say that there was some type of entity that didn't really live in my house, but like lived on the land prior to houses being built. I live in a community that used to be a flower farm. So all the houses built today used to be a farm. It was all a flower farm. So my friend said it's possible that she died young on this farm and she's just kind of trapped. So she doesn't really live in my house because she's not there all the time, but she does. And nobody on my block has this experience, by the way. I asked all my neighbors and nobody has this experience. My one neighbor across the street said to me that when she cooks in the kitchen, sometimes it smells like somebody smoking a cigarette outside her window, but there's nobody there. So, but it doesn't happen very often either. The interesting thing is that my daughter, fast forward many years later, she had moved out, she got married, but she would have to sleep at my house from time to time because she works in a hospital, and if she's on call, I live closer to the hospital than where she bought a house, so she crashed by me. And one night, she didn't tell me, but her husband told me that when she went to bed that night, it happened to her again. She didn't tell me because she doesn't want to scare me. I don't experience anything like that anymore. But again, I wouldn't do this video at my house just in case. Every once in a while, when we're sitting in the living room, my dog will like growl into the kitchen. And that's like the area where it would be. My daughter did say when she lived with us, when she would get up at night to get water in the kitchen, and my bedroom was upstairs and her bedroom was downstairs, she would, like, if she looked from the kitchen into where the staircase was that went up to my bedroom, she would see look like a silhouette of a little girl standing at the foot of my steps. And my daughter would say to her, "Get out of here, you're not welcome here," and she would just disappear. So when my dog now growls into the dark abyss of my kitchen when we're hanging out in the living room, I just scream, "You're not welcome here, leave, you're not welcome here, leave." So it's a pretty funny situation because my husband's upstairs saying, "Is she talking to the ghost again?" So, other than that, what else happened? I think just the screaming happened like twice. But what's interesting is we have a TV in the bedroom upstairs, and every night at a certain time, it's like, I think it's like 10:45 to 11, I'd hear my TV, whether it's on or off, you hear like an electrical clicking sound going through the TV, like a tick tick, like somebody's pushing the remote to turn on the TV or shut it off. And then it happens again a second later, like we wait for the double clicks. We recently moved our TVs around. We got rid of the TV that was there and we put it somewhere else. It still happens. So there's no reason for it to happen. It's this really funky thing. It's not scary. I'm not afraid of being in my house. I worked from home for many years, never had any other strange experiences, but it's interesting that there is some kind of phenomenon or something is going on my property, definitely in my house. And I'm just wondering, have you experienced anything like that? Is your house haunted? Do you have a little spirit person running around in your house? Just curious.
Okay, so I grew up in a haunted house, and this is something that used to happen to me when I was a little girl that I remember. Okay, so picture it. I'm in bed. I'm sleeping. It's the weekend. Okay, it's Saturday morning. I'm taking my time waking up because, hey, it's Saturday morning. Now, my mama, she used to make a big breakfast on the weekends. I'm talking grits, eggs, bacon, sausage, biscuits. She'd make pancakes, everything. She would throw down in that kitchen on the weekend, okay? Because my family, we had a farm and they expect us to get out there and work, okay? So they would feed us. Anyways, so I'm laying in bed, enjoying the morning, and I hear what sounds like my mama in the kitchen. And you know what your mama sounds like in the kitchen, right? So I can hear it, and I hear my mama. I'm thinking, dang, my mama's up there cooking. I hear sounds like as if she's washing dishes. I hear like she's washing specifically like silverware. She's like putting it in to like the dish drainer because we didn't have a dishwasher. So I'm like hearing those noises. I'm hearing the stove. I'm hearing the sizzle of bacon. I'm hearing all kinds of mixing noises. I'm not hearing the TV on. And my mama, she always had to have Law and Order on when she was cooking, okay? I'm not hearing that. And I'm also not hearing any of my brothers awake. And I'm not hearing my mama talking. And my mama talks more than I do, okay? So she's always on the phone with somebody. I'm not hearing none of that. But I am hearing all those other sounds. And I'm smelling smells like bacon. I'm smelling all kinds of good smells, right? So finally, I think, dang, I'm about to get up because I'm going to get up for my brothers. My brothers do, and I'm going to get me a piece of bacon before they get up. So I get up. I put my bedroom shoes on. Open my bedroom door, and I walk down the hall. When I get to the living room, because I can see the kitchen from the living room, I remember being so scared and so panicked, literally feeling like my stomach was coming out my butt. Because guess what? There's nobody in the kitchen. There was nobody in the kitchen. Not a soul was up in the house. My mama was not up. The lights in the kitchen was not on. All the lights was off. Everything was just how it was before we went to bed. So I'll go to my mama's room and I knock on the door. And I go in there and I see my mama and my daddy fast asleep. I ran back to my bedroom, closed the door and locked it. And I did not come out of my room until my mama came and got me because she wanted to know what the heck I was doing in my room that late. Yeah. Just one of the many things that happened in our house that we grew up in that was haunted.
Tell me a ghost story that sounds completely unbelievable but is entirely true.
Anyone who knows me and my family knows that, like, the ghost stuff is 100%, like, right up our alley. We've all seen things, we've all heard things, we've all had dreams of people that we were related to that had passed coming to talk to us, all that type of stuff. So this is right up my alley. So back in 2020, I had just gotten out of a bad breakup. I was 25 at the time, and it was just like a moment where I had gotten a new job and I was just really working hard to find myself again. Wasn't thinking about kids or marriage or anything like that. My grandparents were really sick. My grandpa had Alzheimer's. My grandma had Parkinson's. We were going through a lot of stuff with getting their house ready to sell and getting them into a facility. So there wasn't a lot of time for, relationship type stuff. So right around, I'd gotten hired in July, and right around November, we had a new guy start at work. And, all the corny stuff about how they say when it happens kind of a thing. We started talking. Right around February, we actually started dating. Totally wasn't expecting it, just it happened, which now we're married. But At the time, he was helping me a lot with my grandparents' stuff and was really supporting me with that, just really being there for me during a really difficult time. My mom started going to this hairdresser who stopped doing hair in the salon and started doing it from home so that she could focus on her other job. And so my mom was going to her house for her hair. She had made an appointment and went to her house. The lady started doing her hair and just randomly was like, "I'm so sorry. I don't know what it is, and I don't know if you believe in this stuff, but I am sensitive. I feel things, I see spirits, they talk to me and communicate to me. It's not very often that they're this persistent, but since you texted me saying you needed your hair done and we made this plan, he has been here and he will not leave me alone." She started to describe who ends up being my Uncle Jim, who had passed when my mom was young, and I have never met, but he has come to her in dreams before. But she said that he has come to her with a baby girl, saying that she is for you. So she asked my mom, she's like, "Are you pregnant?" And my mom, having had breast cancer fueled by estrogen, she had had a hysterectomy. My mom can't have kids, plus at the time I'm 25, her and my dad aren't thinking about kids at all. So she tells her all that stuff and she says no. And she goes, "Well, is Kylie pregnant?" And my mom goes, "I don't know. She does have a new boyfriend, but she hasn't told me anything." So she texts me and I'm like, "No, I'm not pregnant. We're not thinking of kids. Absolutely not. Not right now." But we're just kind of going through the motions. My grandpa passed in October, and then a few short months after that, in January, my grandmother passed. We just kind of kept going on through our life, trying to deal with the grief and all that type of stuff that came with them passing. My birthday's in July. That came and went, and right around the end of August, beginning of September, we found out that I was pregnant. And not just pregnant, pregnant with a baby girl. She was completely right. I had a baby girl. And to make things weirder, her due date was my grandmother's birthday. My first ultrasound appointment was on the anniversary of my grandfather's passing. She was just a blessing. And then the final thing that settled it for me, that she was sent by my ancestors, my family that has passed, was my husband and I were picking names for her, and we were talking about middle names, and he said, "What about May?" Spelling it M-A-E. I didn't know at the time, but it's his mother's middle name. But it's also the exact same middle name as my grandmother that passed, and the exact same spelling.
Since it's Halloween season, I'm going to tell you my spooky story. If you are anything like me and you get scared easily, save this and watch this during the day. If not, all power to you. So 10 years ago, I was 19. I went to Florida State University and I was moving in to my sophomore year. I was going to move in with one of my friends. I'm going to call her Carly for anonymity, whatever it is. And we were going to move my mom, my brother, and my sister, who were both, about 16 and 13 at the time. They were going to come to Tallahassee to move me in. We ended up, if you don't know, the drive from Miami to Tallahassee is about 8 hours, give or take. We ended up stopping, we went the wrong way, etc. It took us forever. So by the time that we got to Tallahassee, it was too late to move into my apartment. And because we planned late and my mom was going through a divorce, it was like a whole thing. We weren't able to get a hotel. So we decided we're going to stay with my friend Carly. Her parents had a lake house about 30-40 minutes outside of Tallahassee. Now, this lake house is on reserved land. It's like a nature reserve and there's no street lights or anything. And obviously my Cuban mom in the situation was super scared. Even though she's the toughest, fiercest person I know, she was like, "What is this?" But we show up to my friend Carly's house. She's already there, or she guided us there. I don't remember exactly, but she was with us. And me and her, our freshman year, we used to hang out there all the time. It's like a really decent sized lake house. So imagine you walk in and there's 2 stairs. There's one that goes upstairs to a floor that has a kitchen, a living room, and different rooms, and then like just like a balcony to the outside. But if you go downstairs, there's more rooms downstairs. There's like a fireplace, another kind of living room situation, and then a door to the outside to the lake. So we get there. It's already super late. We had stopped to eat dinner. So at this point, it's like 11 o'clock at night. We've been traveling all day. We are exhausted. When we walk inside, Carly is like, hey, I'm going to take the downstairs. I'm super tired. I'm just going to go to sleep. You guys take the upstairs. My mom already, when we walked in, was she's like very perceptive to energy and vibes. She was already kind of like, I'm feeling weird. I myself, having stayed there before, just me and her, like in the pitch black in the middle of nowhere, I always kind of felt safe and comfortable there, and I'm truly scared of my own shadow. But I did not feel safe and comfortable this time around, but I thought that it was just because I was anxious because we were starting sophomore year, and I was upset because we were late, and just the anxiety of being a 19-year-old in college with your family for like 12 hours. So we take the upstairs. My brother's exhausted. He goes into his own room. My sister goes into another room, and then there's 2 rooms left. So one is Carly's parents' room that they tend to stay in when they come visit, and then it was just like an empty room. My mom felt uncomfortable, obviously sleeping in the bed that her parents slept in. She felt it was like kind of disrespectful. So she was like, I'm just going to take the sofa. Knowing my mom, where the sofa was in the living room, like I said, you walk up, there's the living room, and let's say you walk to the right is the kitchen, and if you walk to the left, that's where the other rooms are. I felt like my mom stayed on the sofa so she can kind of watch the front door a little bit and kind of watch the staircase. Because I don't think she was too thrilled that we were staying there, obviously, and she already had weird vibes. So I go into my own room. I'm literally scared of everything, like I mentioned. So I was already kind of spooked. I was like, obviously not having a good day. I was really anxious. And I was like, I am just going to sneak into the room with my sister, who's like 13, and I'm just going to like snuggle with her, and I'm going to, sleep in the same bed as her because somehow I felt safe that she was going to protect me. I end up going into that room and kind of laying in bed with her. And I'm there, like I said, this is like the 2nd floor. And again, these houses, it's a lake house, so it's on a platform. I look at the window and I feel like because I get scared, when I get scared, just a fun fact about me, I wear contacts and glasses. And when I'm scared, especially at night, I don't take off my contacts and I like fall asleep with my glasses on. So I genuinely purposefully did not take off my contacts that night because I was like, I want to be able to see my surroundings because I'm feeling weird. So like I said, I'm in the bed with my sister. I look up to the window and I see a face in the window. Again, I'm fucking terrified. I'm like shaking. I'm like scared, but I know my mom is asleep. I know my brother is asleep. My sister's knocked out, and I was like, I don't want to bother anyone. And then my friend's downstairs. And what's even worse than seeing a face in the window was like me having to trek downstairs, where I felt was even scarier. And I knew she was asleep. So I was like, I'm coaxing myself down. Like, this is my imagination. This isn't real. I'm not seeing a face in the window. I'm just exhausted. Like, I'm asleep, you're asleep. But I kind of knew I wasn't asleep, right? But I was just like, go to sleep, go to sleep. So I like forced myself. I like hid under the covers. I like forced myself to go to sleep. Because I was just like, you're exhausted and you're just seeing things. The next morning, we obviously wake up early. Like I said, my mom was sleeping on the sofa the whole night. My friend Carly comes upstairs to just like say hi to everybody, and we're like gathering our stuff. And my mom was like, hey, like, are you okay? Are you feeling okay? And I was kind of like, oh my God, mom, like, leave her alone. I just thought it was my like Cuban mom being overprotective because Carly was sleeping downstairs by herself. And Carly's like, no, for sure. I genuinely like went into the room and I passed out. Like, I couldn't even wake up right now with like my alarm. Like, I was so exhausted. I instantaneously, like, my head hit the pillow. I fell asleep. My mom was like, well, she's like, but I thought I saw you coming up the stairs and like going to the kitchen. And I kept waking up throughout the night because felt you going up the stairs through the kitchen, up the stairs through the kitchen, like back and forth, and you kept passing me. My friend Carly, her face automatically drops, and she was like, what? And to give you context, I lived with Carly for a year after the fact, and that never happened to me. She is not a sleepwalker whatsoever. She truly is a person that at the time, and this was 10 years ago, she would fall asleep and she was like a rock, My mom was like, no, but I saw you. And Carly's a small person, barely 5 feet with long hair. And my mom was like, oh, I saw someone small with long hair that was walking up the stairs. I saw them at the foot of the stairs walking to the kitchen and back. And Carly was like, no, that wasn't me because I was in bed the whole time. So when this happened, we were all like, let's get our shit and let's get out of here because this is weird. And we don't really talk about it that much, but my mom was like, oh, I know. She's like, if it wasn't her, then it was someone. It was a small person going back and forth. And to this day, I only went back before, like I said, I would go there a lot. To this day, I only went back there once the following year when we were going to move into our junior year apartments. I went there to help her get her stuff, and it was a truly in and out situation. And again, I automatically, once I got on that, on the land, and she pulled the car in and we walked into the house, it was this full sense of dread. And I don't know if this is confirmed or not, but it was a rumor in her neighborhood that there was someone sketchy who moved in who potentially was accused of certain crimes. So we were could that be a thing? Again, she didn't believe, she was like, oh, your mom was asleep and she was not really thinking. I told her about the face in the window. Again, she was like, that's not a thing, whatever. But yeah, I truly think it was something or someone. And my mom even, when we realized oh, it wasn't her, my mom got up and checked the front door to make sure it was still locked, and it was. So yeah, I'm open to any theories. Again, I just spooked myself, so I'll probably have nightmares tonight. But let me know what you think in the comments.